Yes guys, welcome to the video, and I'm going to show you in this video why exactly you struggle to stay disciplined when it comes to your fitness journey. A lot of people that I work with are fairly disciplined when it comes to other areas of their life, but for some reason they can't quite understand why they can't seem to make it work around their fitness journey. They put in a lot of effort, they restrict themselves a lot, they're more than happy to grind their way through to tick off their boxes, but this never lasts. And I'm going to explain to you why this isn't working and what you need to do instead. So if you are somebody who wants to stay disciplined and consistently lose body fat and actually get to a place where they are going to reach their goals, this is going to help you understand how you can do exactly that. Let's get into it. So why you cannot stay disciplined when it comes to your fitness journey and why this is really not your fault. So the misunderstanding most men have is that they think that lack of discipline is the reason that they cannot reach their goals. But when it comes to getting in shape, they try to push harder when it comes to doing the things that they're comfortable with. As I said before, people are more than happy to train more, to grind harder, but that's not necessarily the solution. They can restrict themselves more. A lot of the guys that I've worked with in the past, they are happy to cut out carbohydrates or just fast for most of the day, but this just reinforces the stop-start cycle most guys find themselves in, and they make all of the decisions as they go along in their journey. So every single day they're waking up like, what do I need to do? How do I do that? What should I eat? And that just causes too much mental fatigue. And as well as this, they rely on willpower to get everything done. And for a while, this can work. However, when life happens, everything falls apart. Let's take a look at what people actually consider to be a lack of discipline. So this is never random, and for most people, it actually shows up in predictable patterns. And here's an example of one of these patterns. So let's say that somebody has finished work, it's 7 p.m. at night, and they've had a stressful day, and they are mentally drained, and they've used all of their energy for that work day, and they just want to switch off. So their solution to relax and wind down is to have some snacks because they almost feel drawn to it, or they resort to a glass of wine to numb themselves for the evening. But ultimately, they just stop thinking about their plan and just try to take the edge off. This is because all of their willpower has gone. And other scenarios where discipline fails include things like Friday nights and the weekends, or after they've had stressful weeks at work. They might have one beer or one bit of food and just spiral and just undo all of their hard work for the week. It happens when they are tempted with other people, when other people are offering them food, and just waking up and not really having a plan for the day. Now, this is what most people would classify as lack of discipline, but this is not a discipline issue. This happens because you are trying to rely on discipline in an environment that requires too much of it. Now, there's a really good book called Coaching for Performance, which has this equation here: performance equals potential minus interference. And this summarizes what most people are struggling with when it comes to their lack of discipline. See, this guy has all the potential in the world to run as fast as he can. However, what we can see here is that his trainers are pretty poor. They're not even tied up and they're muddy. He has chains on him. He has a blindfold. He's got ropes, and he's got all sorts of stuff happening in his head. Now, despite him having all of the potential and the willingness to put in the work, he is holding himself back. And this is a metaphor for how people are holding themselves back when it comes to their fat loss journey. You can have everything in the world going for you in terms of level of effort and all the potential to work hard, but if your environment is constantly requiring more from you and taking away that potential, then that is the thing which is causing you to not have discipline. I'm going to explain this in more detail, but the reason most people fail when it comes to staying disciplined with their fitness journey is because every day they're asking themselves to make constant decisions. They wake up thinking, I need to get my steps in. When should I train? What should I do with training? I need to have this for breakfast. But if I have that for breakfast, what can I have for lunch? Oh, but I'm working over here for lunch, so I can only get that. It's too many decisions. That is part of the reason why you are not staying disciplined. They also have to resist temptation all day, whether that's at work. They haven't told people what they're doing, so everybody's offering them food, which makes it hard. Again, that's going to suck your willpower out of you. They have to think about food all the time. Like I said, they're thinking about what they can have for lunch, how many calories that they've got left, how they can hit their protein target. They are constantly fighting their environment. When it comes to home life, they haven't told their partner what they're doing, and also they're just following a plan that they don't even enjoy, purely because some influencer has sold them an 8-week plan which requires them to cut out of their carbohydrates, and they have to fight every single day to stick to the plan. It's no wonder why you have no discipline around your fucking food. This is an uphill battle every single day, and it's no wonder why you cannot stay disciplined when it comes to your plan. So let's talk about some of these invisible blockers in more detail, and this is only some of them. There are plenty more. Now, the first things first is you have no structure. You are winging your day and making it up as you go along. You have no plan for your meals, you have no clear training time, you have no routine, so everything becomes a decision on top of you having to go to work, look after your family, make thousands of other decisions on a daily basis to do with your entire life. On top of that, you now have to do the same when it comes to your fitness journey, which shouldn't be the case. You have better things to worry about than worrying about what you have to do with your nutrition and training and steps on a daily basis. The next thing which is killing your discipline is your environment and the fact that it's working against you. Now, a really good quote from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, is environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior. Because around your environment, you have bad foods which are easily available. You have no meals prepared for when you're busy. You have a lot of social pressure because you haven't had that conversation with people around you just to say, look guys, I'm just doing this new program and I want to stick to it. So I'd appreciate it if I had your support, and if you just don't offer me more food, I will be the designated driver. You can say a similar thing to your missus and just be like, this is going to help me be more confident and energetic. I really need your support, blah, blah, blah. And you have so many distractions around you as well. So you're constantly relying on self-control instead of having a good setup. And this obviously means that you're fucking doomed, basically. The next thing that you're struggling with, and which is killing your discipline, is that you're forcing a plan that you hate. You have boring meals that you don't enjoy. You have unrealistic expectations about what to eat, and you are too restrictive. So naturally you want to escape it. Now, there should not be at any point in your diet a time where you have to eat foods just for the sake of it without having to enjoy it. At every point of your diet, you should be enjoying your foods. And we went a bit extreme with the food example here, but I'll be honest with you, I still go out whilst I'm currently on a diet and I enjoy a steak and chips with my loved ones, and I'm on a diet and I'm losing body fat. And to think that you have to cut out carbs or stop eating meals that you enjoy for the sake of losing weight is stupid, and it is killing your discipline and chances of getting in shape. The next thing which is killing your discipline is that you have no boundaries. You say yes to everything. You're letting other people make your decisions around food, and you're prioritizing other people's feelings over your own. So your plan only works when life is quiet and when other people can't influence your decisions. So no wonder why it feels like a discipline problem, because you're constantly thinking, I should be able to stick with this. I've done this last week, why can't I do it this week? But the truth is, you're not failing because you lack discipline. You're failing because your system requires too much of it. And here's the 90-10 rule that I want you to take away from this video. And this is where everything changes. And it's the only way I've seen men stay consistent when it comes to their fat loss journey. And it's the fact that 90% of your program, of your fat loss plan, should be systemized. You should have structures in place. You should be planning your stuff. You should set up a good environment. You should have defaults and make a routine when it comes to getting this stuff done. This will remove your friction. This will remove your decision making, and this will remove reliance on willpower. 10% of your plan should be done by using discipline, not 100% like what you're currently doing at the moment. This is where discipline actually belongs. Training when you don't feel like it, saying no occasionally, and following through when you're tired. Discipline should support your system, not carry it. And as you can see, this sprinter has really good shoes, which we could say is his routine. He has his blindfold off, which means he's got healthy boundaries with the people around him. He's got no chains on him, which is probably a enjoyable meal plan, makes things easier, but you understand where I'm coming from when it comes to this metaphor, right? So the shift most men never make is that they believe if I suffer more and grind harder, that is how I succeed. So what they do is make their plan harder. They add more restriction. They tell themselves that they need to lock in, but harder plans require more willpower, and more willpower equals less sustainability. What systems actually look like when it comes to staying consistent and being disciplined is the following. It has nothing to do with adding more complexity or restricting yourself more. It's about creating more clarity about how you get stuff done. So it kind of looks like making sure that your training is already planned in your diary ahead of time, having your meals made ahead of time, letting your partner know what you're doing before you start the process so she can support you, finding meals that both you and your family or your friends enjoy and that help you get to your goals, and so much more. There's so much more to do when it comes to helping yourself stay consistent. So when you wake up every single day, you're not deciding, you're just executing what you have already made clear intentions for. So let's look at the real difference between men who succeed and those who don't. Now, let's say that two guys have the most identical lives you can imagine. They both have a stressful job. They both work work long days and they both have low energy because of these long days. One relies on discipline to do everything and ultimately fails, which is what you're currently doing now. The other has structure and systems in place to make taking action effortless. They have the same life, but they have a different setup, which therefore means they get a different result. And the reason why I put David Goggins here is because the way most people approach their fitness journey, it's like they have more discipline than the most disciplined guy in the world. Obviously, David Goggins has done amazing things. He is so disciplined. However, he does not have a job to hold down. He didn't have a job to hold down when he made this crazy change in his life. He hasn't got a family to feed. He hasn't got other responsibilities. By you not having the structure and systems in place and you're trying to transform your body, you are basically saying that you are trying to be more disciplined than the most disciplined guy in this fucking world. Make that make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me. You are not David Goggins. You are nowhere near David Goggins. Neither am I, by the way. And I don't want to be like David Goggins. So stop trying to be disciplined like him. And this is what you guys need to realize. There must be a point where you realize that I don't lack discipline. I've just been operating without the right structure. You already use structure in work, family responsibilities, but with your fitness, you just wing it and expect discipline to fill the gap. Now imagine if you had no structure when it comes to your work. You didn't have a time schedule for the transport that you take to work every day. Once you get through the door, people are booking in meetings or they just want meetings with you right there. Your emails are coming through and you have no set lunch time. It would be absolute chaos. But this is the same approach you're doing with your fitness journey, and it's never going to work. So what happens when you actually fix this and apply a structure and a system? You will stop restarting every single Monday or every month. Evenings become easier to handle your food because you have a structure in place with your food. You're eating the right foods. It's removing your hunger, removing your cravings. It's helping you manage your stress. Therefore, it makes it easier in the evenings to stay on track. You do not derail every weekend and you do not rely on willpower every day, and the process becomes calmer and smoother. Fat loss then becomes repeatable and not an uphill battle that you have to fight every single day. And the bottom line with all of this is, if you rely on discipline to get everything in your fitness journey done, it's not a discipline issue that you're struggling with. If you're not consistent, it's not because you're not disciplined. It's a structure and systems issue. Nobody has ever got in shape by relying on discipline 100% of the time. And I would correct that. Nobody has ever got in incredible shape by relying on discipline 50% of the time, or 40% of the time, or maybe even 30% of the time. So please guys, if you want consistent results, do not rely on discipline. If you are somebody who is serious about transforming their body and you think that you need help, please go to my Instagram, DM me the word transform, and I will talk you through how we work so you can see the same sort of transformations that all of my clients see. See you in the next video.